Do you call your voicemail? Is your voicemail like everyone else? Say, please listen close as our menu options have changed. Menu options are changing across the country every single day, all right? But that is not what people want to hear.
Welcome to Experience Points, presented by our friends at Avtex, who transform customer experience through CX design and orchestration. On Experience Points, contestants earn points by answering customer experience questions and share their insight on how to make your interactions remarkable. Those points turn into dollars for the charity of their choosing. I'm Dan Gingiss.
And I'm Joey Coleman, and we'd love to introduce you to today's contestant, the incredible Sultan of SWAT lookalike, Jesse Cole, founder of Fans First Entertainment and owner of the Savannah Bananas baseball team. He's the author of Find Your Yellow Tux, How to Be Successful by Standing Out. And as a result, it's not a surprise that he wears a tuxedo that is yellow everywhere he goes. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Fired up to be with you guys. This may be one of the biggest moments of my life right now, so thank you.
We can feel it. It's exciting.
So Jesse, why the yellow tuxedo, and how often do you have to dry clean that thing?
Yellow tuxedo, it is my uniform. My biggest mentor is P.T. Barnum, so try to be a showman with everything we do. I own 7 of these, so I don't have to dry clean as much. During the season, though, a couple times because the games get a little sweaty in the Savannah heat.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jesse, the games are remarkable. You are remarkable. And speaking of remarkable, you're going to be playing for a fantastic charity today. Can you tell us a little bit about who you're going to be playing for and why you're such a big fan?
Yes, pumped to be playing for the Savannah Chatham County CASA today. Emily and I, my wife, we really got to know this group when we first came to Savannah, and taking care of foster kids and volunteers and teaching and helping people, it's something that's near and dear to our heart. So we're excited to play for them today.
That is awesome, and we hope you make lots of money for them, Jesse. So now that we know who you're going to play for, let's talk about today's game. Today we're going to be playing Think Fast.
In Think Fast, you will have 1 minute to answer 5 experience questions. For each question, you must quickly choose between 2 possible answers. Correct answers given before time runs out are worth 100 points. 5 correct answers will earn you 500 bonus points for a possible score of 1,000 points.
Are you ready to get started?
I am so ready.
Woo! Let's feel it. All right, this is going to be a good one. There's a lot of money at stake, but I believe Jesse's got the ability to deliver us. We're going to be talking today about a report and a study put together by the folks at Ipsos Medallia called the Customer Experience Tipping Point. All kinds of things to consider about customer experience behavior in the United States, the UK, Germany, and France. So it's a global study and survey. Jesse, you feeling ready to go?
Let's do this.
All right, Dan, give me 60 seconds on the clock. When making a purchase decision, the number one thing consumers rely on is personal experience. What is number 2?
Opinions of friends and family.
What is number 2? Opinions of friends and family or the company's advertising?
Sorry, opinions of friends and family.
Which generation is most likely to avoid a brand because of a bad experience? Baby boomers or millennials?
Millennials.
What percentage of consumers have boycotted a brand because of its values or stances on social issues? 20% or 36%?
Gonna go high, 36%.
What is a consumer's most likely response to a negative incident with a brand? Tell their friends and family or call customer service?
Tell friends and family.
And last but not least, what percentage of consumers have avoided a brand because of a bad experience they had? 64% or 47%?
64%.
Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with 3 seconds to spare, Jesse Cole got through all 5 Think Fast questions.
Nice job. What'd you think of that, Jesse?
I was very intimidated by the speed, but Joey kept it moving well, and I did break the rules in the first one, and I said it right away, but I got better as we went on.
I love it.
Always good to learn.
So the first question we asked you, Jesse, when making a purchase decision, the number one thing consumers rely on is personal experience. What is number 2? Is it opinions of friends and family or the company's advertising? You said opinions of friends and family, and you were correct. Congratulations.
Woo-hoo!
is indeed
Yes.
the opinions of friends and family. The next question: which generation is most likely to avoid a brand because of a bad experience? The options were baby boomers and millennials. Jesse, you said millennials, which was correct. Indeed, the millennials.
Woohoo!
2-2, feeling good. The next question: what percentage of consumers have boycotted a brand because of its values or stances on social issues? 20% or 36%? You said, I'm going to go high. And Jesse, it's a good thing that you did it. Correct, 36%. We then asked, what is a consumer's most likely response to a negative incident with a brand? Tell their friends and family or call customer service. Folks, they're not going to call customer service because they're busy telling their friends and family. Oh my goodness, we're feeling it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesse Cole is 4 for 4 on Think Fast. We have one more question to go, and if he gets this question right, he doubles the total number of points won. We asked the question: what percentage of consumers have avoided a brand because of a bad experience they had? Jesse, you said 64%. My friend, you won a lot of money!
Yeah!
Woo! 4% is indeed the answer. Congratulations. Oh my goodness. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. 5 for 5. Jesse, when we think about all these things about customer experience and how people talk about the experiences and how it affects their purchase decisions, what's the takeaway from all of these questions? What are you kind of feeling in terms of the overall importance of customer experience as it relates to people's purchase behaviors, their loyalty, all of the above?
A company may not even know how bad something they're doing is hurting them. And so, because they're just telling their friends and family, they're not calling customer service, they may not make a review. And no matter what you say in your advertising or marketing, you might be getting hurt every single day. Or you could actually be becoming more remarkable by everyone else telling. So huge opportunity that I think people don't even realize sometimes, that people are talking about you when you don't even know it.
Yeah, and I think what's really important there is when people tell their friends and family about an experience that's either positive or negative, that is so much more believable than a brand talking about itself in an advertisement. And we know that customers believe brands pretty much at the bottom. They don't even believe CEOs of brands, sorry, Joey, but they believe employees a little bit more. And the people they believe the most, not surprisingly, are their friends and family. And so when you ask a friend or a family member, hey, what was it like to go to that restaurant or go to that baseball game or order that product? And they say it was great. That makes you feel good about your purchase decision and causes you to choose that brand. But the opposite is also true as well.
Jesse, you had such a mic drop moment there when you said, a company may be doing something wrong and not even know it. I think that's such an often overlooked aspect of customer experience. We talked about it when you were here on the show with us playing the game Fake or Fact, when we talked about reviews and this idea that positive reviews versus negative reviews and the importance in many ways of making sure you see and respond to both. What are some things that companies can do to have a greater level of awareness of the true impact that customer experience is having on their business?
So we go undercover. So one thing that we do is we do undercover fan, and everyone on our staff actually goes in and experiences the game as a fan. And so we park with the fans, we line up with the fans, we sit with the fans, we eat with the fans. And at the end of each night, we give a full recap to the team. We take notes, and we've got over the last 3 years, probably 100 pages of notes. You don't know the experience until you really put yourself in the shoes. And every time I've gone, I've realized wow, that parking experience, I hit a pothole my first time. I didn't know there were potholes way out in the parking. I didn't know that, but that's a bad first impression. And so you don't realize until you actually get there. Do you call your voicemail? Is your voicemail like everyone else? Say, please listen close as our menu options have changed. Menu options are changing across the country every single day, all right? But that is not what people want to hear. Put yourself in the customer's shoes, and that's been something that's been so valuable for us. And I'll tell you the next level, Joey, which I'm doing this week, is frontline teammate. I'm actually working in the concession stand. I'm grilling, I'm wrapping burgers. I'm going to be dressed like everyone else, not in the tux, and to see how is the experience for your people. You have to put yourself in the shoes, and that's so valuable for us.
I think you bring up an excellent point, Jesse. There's not only the customer experience, but there's an employee experience. And it empowers your employees so much, and it makes them feel like they actually matter when they see the owner of the team right next to them flipping burgers. Not only does it give you insight, I imagine, to the customer experience, but I'm guessing you're going to walk away with almost as many notes about the employee experience.
Oh, yeah.
I think at the end of the day, all too often, leaders and senior managers, the further they get away from the front line, the more disconnected they become from the customer experience and the employee experience at the front line. What are some things that you've done with your management team, Jesse, to kind of keep them with a finger on the pulse? I know you mentioned, kind of this idea of you'd have, mystery folks going out and watching the games, but speak, if you could, to a little bit the managing a CX team or a team that's committed to customer experience, how that becomes part of your culture.
Yeah, I think, we always ask, we have our team always ask, what can I do better? And we try to take away the egos. We try to empower people. So we take people out of their roles. And I know that undercover, but literally, our president has been running our whole streaming system this summer. He's getting out of that the last 5 games. And now he's literally just walking the park. How often you hear that, managed by walking around? How often are you walking around and actually seeing it? So we make sure everyone is walking around and actually touching little departments. A lot of times companies are so siloed. We touch everything. And I always go to the group, hey guys, what can we do better for the show? Because I'm involved in the entertainment, the promotions. So you have to be able to let go of your ego and ask people that maybe don't have the experience, but might ask a dumb question that's really a smart question. And so we try to get people to go into different departments constantly and give that honest feedback from a different perspective.
I think that's so impressive that you do that as the owner, because as Joey said before, it is all too common that the higher up you go in the organization, the less you know about what's going on. Really quick story, true story, when I was in corporate America, I was assigned the task of shooting a video for an awards ceremony that we were having. And we shot this video, and it was meant to be an entertainment comical video. And it chronicled the story of a summer intern trying to get a project approved at the company. And he had to go to the brand team, and he had to go to the legal team, and he had to go to jump through all these hoops. And everywhere he went, he got stopped and walls were put in front of him. And the audience is cracking up at this because, as Homer Simpson likes to say, it's funny because it's true. The one person that wasn't laughing was the CEO. And he turned to my boss and he said, "Is this really what happens?" And the boss was like, "I'm afraid so." And he literally didn't know. And yet everybody else in the audience could completely relate to how bad it was. And so getting out there and being not only a customer, but being an employee and feeling what they feel, I think is the single best way to identify opportunities to continue improving both experiences.
Well, and I think that brings us full circle, Dan, because, Jesse started off talking about the answers that he came up with based on the fact that you might have something happen in your organization with one of your customers and you don't even know, because they don't call customer service. They don't tell you. They just tell their friends and complain about it. You may be the CEO of a company and not know how bad the situation really is. But to take things into a more positive note, Dan, let's recap our score of how Jesse did playing Think Fast.
Well, Jesse, you played Think Fast to perfection. As you know, all 5 questions are worth 100 points, but because you got all of them correct, we double it for a total of 1,000 points, or $1,000 donated to Savannah Chatham Casa from our friends at Avtex. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. That's awesome.
Jesse,
So cool.
1,000. I absolutely love it. Thanks again for being a contestant on Experience Points. This concludes this episode, but you can check out more games with Jesse and our other celebrity guests at experiencepointsgame.com. That's experiencepointsgame.com. We'll see you soon for more examples of remarkable customer experience here at Experience Points, presented by Avtex.
The topic of conversation, particularly around taking yourself out of your role and just looking at what the experience is from a different perspective is extremely powerful. And so they talked about a number of ways to do that, but it really speaks to a broader theme of observational research about what we're doing with our client, right?
It absolutely does, John. And I think, one of the things that we do consistently with our clients is perform observational research for them, and quite frankly, teach them how to do observational research. I keep coming back to this theme of, if you're going to improve the experience, if you're really going to create, a remarkable moment, if you're going to really pay attention to how the customer or the consumer feels, then you have to have empathy. Without empathy, he told the story of the pothole. As soon as he said that, we can all immediately relate. We all have empathy because we've all hit potholes before, and we know how, you swear underneath your breath and you cross everything that you've got to hope that it didn't just misalign your wheels or whatever, or worse than that. Did I just dent my rims or whatever it might be. So we immediately had empathy towards that. And so that's the purpose of observational research, is if you're not observing, it doesn't have to be secret shopping. Not every business can have the ability to do secret shopping, consume the baseball experience or the Savannah banana experience. But every organization can do observational research. And it doesn't matter whether it's digital. There's ways that we have to observe just about every experience, regardless of the industry. And what you gain from those observations is just so powerful, because it really helps create empathy. It creates that moment where, when Dan was talking about the CEO that said, really, is that our experience? And I know he was talking about the employee experience, but it really creates those moments because it uncovers things that you really don't see or don't understand, or more than that, you don't get from surveys